welcome every viewer out there to our first ever video podcast of Average All-Stars. And this is Mickey Mack.
And I'm Jesse Valdez. I'll be going by Exxon on the video podcasts.
And let's go ahead and get right into it. I know a lot of viewers out there are wondering, what is this show all about? And as far as the show goes, we want to go ahead and make sure that we reach out to the communities. There's, people that are feeling that they're average Joes. They don't have a way to bond like Average All-Stars will give them that opportunity to bond.
Yes, and we're going to get more into it and talk about how Average All-Stars is going to actually come together with Sports Rally, and this is what I'll be representing. Because Sports Rally is all about, if you love sports and you want to go play it, go play it. I mean, go find people, friends, family, new faces, and go play the sports you love. Football, basketball, soccer, softball, stuff like that. And what Sports Rally is doing is it's actually making that possible to where you can play something you love, but you don't have to be on the high school football team or playing for the Utes or on the Spurs, It's more about those athletes and all-stars that aren't getting paid the big bucks. They're just there to do it, and they're just running with it. And what these podcasts are going to be about is more of a vision of what we have, and we're going to run through it, and we're just going to break it down step by step and tell you more about that in this podcast.
So the first thing I want to talk about is what the podcast is going to do for me, for Jesse, for the community. I mean, it's actually going to bring a community together, and that's what the vision is there for. We want to go ahead and make sure that we acknowledge good things that are done within our community. Also, when you do play Sports Rally, definitely give a shout out to people that are out there, and I'll do that myself. We still want to go ahead and get into, of course, NFL football. That's something that we definitely want to always get into because, of course, it is the season. As far as the agenda, as far as the year goes, at least until the end of the year, is to show you exactly what Average All-Stars is all about.
And so what we're going to do is we're just going to try to hop into, like he was saying, like Sports Rally, we're going to try to, we schedule events almost weekly. So like if we're doing football, we're doing basketball, we're doing something like that, we're going to have that mentioned on here, whether it's a scheduled event or whether it's the outcome of what happened after the game. So expect, when he was talking about shout-outs and stuff like that, we're actually having people come in and talk to us in the video podcast about maybe their favorite football team, or maybe about how they were a playmaker in Sports Rally, how they were making the touchdowns, and we will go out and have them in it for them.
Even if you watch a game and you don't like, let's say for example, a referee threw a flag that you felt was not right and it cost your team that game, put it on. Comment to us. I mean, we'll look into it. We'll actually see if we're seeing the same thing on the field, or maybe a lot of times when you watch these games, you become biased. I mean, I am a very, very big Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I am too. And that's something that we want to get out there to you guys. On the first podcast, we're going to try to make it as unbiased as possible. But being a Dallas Cowboy fan, I'm going to tell you, I might lean a little bit towards that. And I've been it since 1992, so I've been born to be Cowboys. So.
Exactly. I mean, I've been a Dallas Cowboys fan since I was like 8 years old, and since then, I mean, to me, it's nothing but joy and victory.
And I know everybody has their own setback on what their favorite team is and stuff like that, and that's what we really want to get into as well. I mean, statistically, everyone looks at the statistics and how their players play and what if they're going to make it to the big game, which is the Super Bowl. We will get into that, but that's not mainly what it's all about.
Exactly.
I mean, football's football, and that's why people will go out and watch football. People watch football because you don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Anything can happen. So we're going to get more into like the viewer's view and whether you have a question, whether you have an opinion or something, we want you to let us know about it, and we'll talk about it.
Exactly.
And from there, we'll go.
Exactly. We're also going to be bringing in some special guests throughout the year, local sports all-stars.
We are located in Utah, so the Salt Lake City, West Valley area. So if you live around us, just let us know, and we'll give you contact information about that as well.
Exactly, because we definitely want to make sure that the community is behind you. That's our key. We want the community to be behind you. A lot of times, the community is not behind local all-stars. It's because they don't know that it's happening. You know, we're making resources so the average all-star knows exactly what's happening.
So you guys definitely know that Average All-Stars, the podcast we're going to be doing, which will probably be a weekly thing, is about sports. But what we also want you to know is that's not all it's going to be about. There might be certain events that has nothing to do with sports, and I want you to tell them a little bit about that too.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want you to be able to see exactly, you know, within sports that we do, things that we do that are not sports. Let's say, for example, I love video games, so I play video games, and I do want to go ahead and sometimes if I'll give a shout out to someone that's, you know, I'm playing a video game against, or maybe if a new system is launched.
Big launch date coming up next week. Releasing Nintendo's press conference is actually going to be talking about that.
Exactly, and we're going to go ahead and discuss that as well. I mean, we're going to go ahead and try to touch on everything that the community is into.
Yeah, so we want you guys to take this as a broad view for an audience, like you guys yourselves. So mainly that's what we're here to do right now. We're just describing, giving you a description of what you should expect from us.
Exactly. And I do want to go ahead and get into a little bit of sports right now, just because that's one thing I love discussing. I love discussing sports. I love seeing other opinions. Being that we just started football.
Season just started Wednesday night.
Exactly. With
Dallas and the Giants.
Yeah, with that Wednesday night game, I mean, how did you feel about that game?
Well, like we were telling the audience, we are Dallas fans, and for a long time, whether people say you're a bandwagoner or not, you got to realize that growing up being a Dallas fan, I've seen the hard times too. I mean, we could barely win playoff games, let alone going to the Super Bowl. You know, so it's not like I'm following them because we went to the Super Bowl. I can't even remember the last Super Bowl we went to because I was just a little kid. You know, so what I think about this game, growing up watching them, I've always seen Dallas is always, they're building up to be something, but they're not yet. So it's either Dallas's offense is great, just like that 2007 season where we went 13-3, you know, or our defense is great, but our offense isn't great. You know, it's always vice versa. And this is for the first time. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is the first game, so anything could change.
Exactly.
For the first time, I can say my offense is good, and we have receivers to prove it. Exactly. My defense is good, and we have secondary receivers, or a secondary where we can actually be confident in, you know?
Exactly. I mean, I saw something in that game that I haven't seen in a long time. I saw accountability. I saw players make mistakes on Dallas, but the thing was that they made mistakes and they were accountable for it. The team knew that it was a mistake that they made. Now, I also watched media after that game, and I seen how Dallas was being bashed. Oh, this is not a good Dallas. Now, personally, last time I checked, the New York Giants did win the last Super Bowl. And with that said, we just beat the champs.
Mm-hmm. And it was actually statistically around, well, not really statistically, but throughout the past 9 years or so, they were saying the Super Bowl contenders will always play the first game at home. And Dallas played in MetLife, which they're our divisional team as well.
Exactly.
So it's even harder. And we beat them, and a lot of predictions were going against us. So, I mean, we beat the predictions, and, you know, it was a great game. But let's try to get into some other games.
Yeah, we definitely want to go ahead and talk on some other games real quick. As far as the game that I was excited for. I was actually excited for the San Francisco-Green Bay game. I was very excited just because San Francisco was a hell of a team last year. And
in Green Bay, too.
Exactly. So what I seen this week is that they're a better team this year. And with that said, I always rate a team by who you beat. They actually beat the Green Bay Packers.
It was a really good game. Not a lot of people saw that coming, but when you looked at him, it was like Aaron Rodgers. He's a good quarterback. I mean, everybody wants him on your team, you know. And he's one of the quarterbacks that actually can roll out, and he'll make the catch as good as if it was in the pocket.
Exactly.
And what San Francisco was doing with that defense, man, it was just amazing how Aaron Rodgers going to put it in. So.
Exactly. Now, I did want to go ahead and talk on, right now has about 7 minutes to go still, but it's Denver and Pittsburgh. I am very excited to see that game. I was actually watching it prior to doing the podcast, but Denver, of course, because they got Manning. I want to see what Manning could do. And Pittsburgh, still Curtin. I mean, do I have to say more? But as far as that game goes right now, it's still a live game at 22 Denver, 19 Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. And another great game was the Washington Redskins with RG3. How did you feel about that game?
I actually, I believe
against
that he
New
was.
Orleans.
I believe he was overrated during that game. But I believe as a rookie, he still has a lot to prove. I mean, don't get me wrong. He had close to like 400 yards passing. I mean, he basically proved it to me. But still, again, because these are the first games, I'm not going to judge it all off.
What Washington was really doing great that I liked is they were managing that clock.
Yep.
I mean, every time, it went to commercial, I went and did some, went back down, Washington had the ball. They couldn't even get Breeze out there.
That is
enough,
correct.
You know?
That is
so
correct. And if you go ahead and you take Drew Brees, one of the best quarterbacks out there, out of the game, you win that game.
Yeah, keeping them on the sidelines.
Exactly.
Another good game was the Arizona and Seahawks.
That is correct. Yeah, that was actually a great
Came down
game.
to the hair.
Yep, exactly. And I believe they had something wrong with the timeouts. They gave too many timeouts. I mean, when it came down to it, both teams played excellent.
They did. It was a really good game. And what we really want to get you guys into is let us know who's your favorite team. What do you think that's going to come out in the outcome for the next week? You know, if you're a Cardinals fan, let us know. I only know like one friend that's a Cardinals fan, so it's really great to get more of a diverse base, like a fan base there. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, predictions. I love predictions. I mean, next week I'm going to go ahead and start giving you my predictions for the weeks because I do play the NFL board, and by playing the board, if I win some big money. But I also want predictions from you guys. I want you guys to go ahead and let me know exactly who you think will win the next game, this Super Bowl coming up. I mean, even if you want to go and tell me who's going to win the Pro Bowl, hey, I'm up for it.
Yep. So, I mean, we didn't really get into too many football games for the first weekend of football, but like I said, this is just a description of what's to come, and we're just going to leave it off with more links and stuff for you, too. So, AverageAllStarz, you can find them on Twitter and YouTube, and that's AverageAllStarz with a Z. With a Z.
Correct.
And this is Mickey Mac right here, and Facebook.com for Sports Rally, Facebook.com/groups/Sports Rally. And you can find us there. Like I said, this is our first podcast, so we'll be doing weekly.
Exactly.
Do you want to end it with anything?
Yeah, just remember, I mean, definitely come out, come support. This is your community. This is our community. Come out and support Sports Rally. Come out and support AverageAllStarz. I mean, we're here for you. So definitely keep that in mind. And again, we'll see you guys next week.
And I'd like to make a shout out to the great game we had for Sports Rally. It was, I believe, a 12-9 game. My team ended up losing. Little issues with the defense, but other than that, great game. Can't wait for football to start up, and I'll let you guys know. Have a good one.